So welcome. Today's guest knows exactly what it feels like to be trapped by success. At 19 years old, Heather Fronk was a single mother working 2 jobs and attending school full time. She was doing everything right, yet when asked for help, she was told she made too much for assistance, but she knew she had too little to actually survive. She didn't stay in that gap forever. She climbed out to build a 15-year career in corporate banking, was crowned Mrs. Ohio America in 2016, and eventually realized that her mission wasn't just to succeed, but to reach back into that gap for others. In 2023, she launched Clothed in Strength, a nonprofit dedicated to the moderate income single mother, the woman who works hard but is one flat tire or one hospital bill away from a cliff. So today, please welcome CEO and the founder of Clothed in Strength, Heather Fronk.
Hello, thank you.
Great to be here. So Heather has an incredible full circle story from being a 19-year-old single mother who made too much for help, but of course too little to survive, to becoming, as I mentioned, Miss Ohio in 2016 and eventually launching her charity. So since her charity specifically targets the gap, and we'll talk a little bit because maybe some people don't understand what that is, Heather, I think it's a tremendous thing that people should know, right? And is that term fair of what you call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we want to kind of go through that and talk to her. So let's do this. Let's kind of talk about the origin, the gap. You've spoken before about, pretty adamantly, I've looked at your stuff about being a young mother who, went to school full time, but really kind of found yourself, at that point, right, in kind of no man's land where, you didn't qualify for assistance, right? But you couldn't, it was kind of that ends meet struggle, right? Just to kind of stay afloat. So what was, for you, what was the specific breaking point moment, from that time that eventually came, this blueprint for you to step out and do Clothed in Strength?
Whenever you're in flight or fight mode in those times, you're just trying to survive. And it's a moment in time that you never forget. I think anytime we walk through something hard, there are hopefully lessons that we take from those. And, during that time, I obviously Clothed in Strength wasn't even like a thought. Mm-hmm. However, when I left that situation and it was just time after time, I left a domestic violence marriage. And I just remember a social worker looking at me at Job and Family Services and saying, honey, you'd be better off quitting your job. Oh, wow. And you would receive assistance. And at the time I was working full-time at Sky Bank. I was going to school full-time to finish my music degree. And I just thought there has to be more help out here for people like me who are just really trying. And so, and we did it. We made it. God was so good. And he had so much favor on us. Even if I was down to a penny in our checkbook, we were always provided for. And I have a fantastic family. I could have always gone home. I'm from South Carolina. Okay. So when I came up here, I was just...
Wait, so this cold is definitely
you adjust. It took me a long time to appreciate many things about living in Ohio.
Yeah, right.
But I really do love our community. I love the people here. I've lived now more of my life here than I had in South Carolina. And so fast forward, you mentioned I ended up graduating from college. I pivoted from music education to banking. I fell in love with it. I could help people in a totally different way.
Yeah, that's great.
And ended up in business banking, which is before I resigned in 2019, I came alongside my husband and our other businesses and to stay home with our daughter. And so fast forward and you just look back and you're like, we have been so blessed. My husband and I have been so blessed. And I've always been involved in the community in some way, a Rotarian and giving back and being Mrs. Ohio and just being a voice for those that sometimes don't have a voice or they don't know how to have a voice yet. And while I've had a passion for our community, specifically, I feel like whenever you connect with a cause that's very deep and personal to you.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
You literally know what it's like to walk through that. And so my husband and I were celebrating our anniversary years back. And I just said, I have this on my heart. I feel like God is putting this on my heart to have this organization where we help single mothers and their children to be introduced to resources that I didn't know were out there when I was walking through it, and to be for them what I needed at 22 years old whenever I walked away from an abusive marriage. And that was the idea of Clothed in Strength. And I had coffee with a friend, her husband's an attorney, and I said I think I want to have this. I think I want to call it Clothed in Strength, which a lot of people think Clothed in Strength is based on us having clothing, which we do have clothing.
I know the real meaning.
Yes.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's actually rooted in the Proverbs 31:25 verse.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
And so, because I do want every woman to know that she is clothed in strength and dignity, and she could truly look at the future, without fear. And so, so my friend said, well, you know what, my husband, he'll set up your organization for you. Go see him.
501c3. Yeah.
So that was in November of 22. We put pen to paper, formed Clothed in Strength, and then it's one of those, you wait for the right moment.
Right.
So we got through the holidays. I sat on it for like 6 months. And in March of 23, I really felt God stirring in me that it's time. So I created a post on Facebook and I threw it out there, in hundreds and hundreds of responses.
Really? Immediate.
I mean, I told my story, and there's so much power in our testimonies.
Amen.
That whenever you hear someone, you can't argue with someone's testimony.
That's right.
And so that moment, I made buckets. I literally went through every comment, and whether it was people saying that they would give their time, their talents, their treasures, or their prayers.
You know that's what we stand behind. Right? Did you know that?
No.
So our Fourth Bucket initiative, if you go to our website, it's Time, Talent, Treasure. So at our, we encourage to lead by example. For fulfillment, right? Using our treasures to drive, as giving us the time, and so we can do the talent. So we're huge. And by the way, that's, if everybody's listening, it's one of the main reasons we have you here, is because we're so supportive of it. There was an alignment with my wife, Leslie, right away. And it was interesting. She says, you got to see this. She is so cool. You got to see what she's doing. And it's great, because this is what, we have clients obviously volunteering with you, and we want that to continue, but we're right there with that same philosophy, Heather, and that's probably why we're aligned.
Yeah, and because we can all give something.
Right.
We may not be able to give the same things,
right,
and we might be in different life seasons.
That's right.
But we can always give something when we look at those 4 buckets.
That's right.
And so I wrote everyone down.
That's wild.
I know.
That's so wild. That's actually spooky. But go ahead.
And so, and I followed back up with every single person, and I tell you, from the time that we launched that post, God was like, let's go. Like, I feel like he was probably like, finally, you're stepping into where I wanted you to be.
Right. So he that's unreal. Again, that's actually gives me goosebumps, dear. So you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
And I see how passionate you are about Heather. It's it's why we're put in each other's lives, without a question. That's just an amazing. So let's talk about this. So Mrs. Ohio America, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
So a platform often associated with glamour, right? Okay. So how so shaping your understanding of the real behind the scenes struggles that we see in the community. How did that, because think about that. That's a total, right? I mean, here you are, but you used it. So how did that help you pivot? You know what I mean? Like into like how the struggles of the women. So you being that example, what did you learn?
That moment preparing. So I signed up to do Mrs. Ohio because I was in this season of finding myself. I can remember in 2014, someone looked at me and they said, Heather, like, what do you like to do? And it was a moment I broke down, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love being a wife, and I love being a mother, and I'm a banker.
Right.
But my hobbies, I had no hobbies of my own. And my husband and I we moved very quickly. I mean, we were married after almost 2 years, and we got...
Wait, quickly? Wait, it got funny. So how long did you date?
We dated for like just over a year, and we got engaged.
So Leslie and I celebrated 31 together, but we dated for 4 months.
Wow.
Before we got engaged.
So that's quick.
So I'm saying, what's quick? What's definition of quick?
Yeah. So, and then we knew we wanted another child right away.
Yeah, that's
great.
And
we got pregnant on our honeymoon. And so all of that time, you're just going, you're doing life. And we were both growing in our careers. And I had never taken time to really deal with the trauma that I went through. Just
a lot of
in
credit.
that.
So you were strong.
To
walk away. I mean, come on. How many times do we think and hear the strength to get out of the situation to realize that you could do this on your own?
And that's what we talk to our moms about all the time, because while our mission is not necessarily rooted in domestic violence,
right?
There's a 85-ish% correlation between young single mothers and domestic violence. So we see
85%.
And it's
do you
huge.
see some things?
Oh, tons. We've helped so many women have the confidence, the confidence,
right, that
and
they
the
can do
strength to leave. I mean, we've helped them out of situations and to find places to live, and so. And being strategic in how we're going to help them, but that you have a support system, that you are so loved and that you're so valuable. Because I'll tell you, whenever I left at 22 years old, I didn't even do it for myself. I just did it because I knew I didn't want my little girl to think that this is what love was. And so,
yeah, no, it's okay. This is too personal, I won't ask. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good. Because it's, it truly is, it's good tears,
Yeah.
But
to see where you are.
Yeah.
So you knew being a mom.
Yep.
This wasn't the way you wanted your daughter to understand how a woman should be respected and treated.
Correct.
So this was not about you.
No. I mean, thank you.
May I ask how long you stayed? Is that too personal before you finally were like, hey?
So I left whenever she was turning 3.
Okay. And I'm sure she witnessed.
She really was not exposed. I'm so
good.
thankful
Thank God.
that she didn't have any idea.
Okay.
So she was not impacted in that way. But to leave that with whatever I could fit in my car at the time.
Now, did you hear so many stories, people feel like, well, I deserved it or I did it. Was it normal?
It's one of those that I was just talking to a friend about this not long ago, because I wasn't raised seeing abuse at all.
Right.
And so I think sometimes, you could be a product of your situation, or you stay because you've seen it. Mine was actually opposite, because I thought, well, it must be me, because I didn't grow up seeing this.
Yeah.
And so whenever I look at, this turning point of going for Mrs. Ohio, and someone asking me, what are your hobbies and what do you like to do? And I had no idea. 2014 going into 15, that's when I first competed for Mrs. Ohio, and I did it, one, to lose weight, because we had a 2-year-old at the time. And I did it because I was like, I needed to start to know, who am I? I didn't know who I was. And the journey to Mrs. Ohio, I went and I competed in 2015, never had done a pageant like that. And I ended up with the first runner-up. And I remember all I wanted to do was make the top 5, because if I made the top 5, my husband got to walk on stage with me. And his big line to me was, I don't understand, but I support you. And when I made top 5, he I'll never forget, because he was like, I get it. I showed up, I gave 110%. Yeah. You would have thought I won, even though I was first runner up. And I came back the next year. He said, you have to do it again.
Right. That's great. So then he became even.
Oh, yeah.
He understood what it meant to you.
Yeah. And he saw the growth that I was experiencing, and he saw me stepping out, just out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And being a voice for organizations that I would have otherwise not had the opportunity to do.
Pivoting there on that. So, right. So here you are trying to find yourself where you are, going through the relationship you did, maybe not feeling, okay, who I am. And so again, coming back to shaping the behind the scenes stuff of this glamour, but there was more to why you did it. It was to prove to yourself that you can, right? Mm-hmm. This is who I can be. Anybody can. So I'm going to put the work in, and I'm showing people by example that yes, this stuff can happen. Is that fair?
That is fair. And learning how to own my story. Yeah. I remember showing up, and I ended up having a coach.
Power of a story.
Yeah. I didn't know how to own it. I thought, I don't really have
a story. You really need to read my book.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to toot it. We just have so many parallels. Not that stuff, but accident happened to me, and I don't know what you know about me. We won't get into it. It's not about me, but there was things that shape you and model who you are, who you don't want to be, what happens, and then. And, I look at things as a blessing, lost sight in one eye, sometimes you question it first. The only time once I questioned God one time, why? Why'd this happen? Then after that, I realized, well, you can't do nothing about it. So you either form it and you go and you use it. And it really helped shape my story. So my story to be able to share and the way that I felt and adopt to turn that into helping my clients, right? Mm-hmm. So meaning we have to learn our stories of building that story and realizing that your own example, right, is a very powerful thing.
Yes.
And you were definitely testament to that.
Yeah. And that's what now we just really, I always try to let these women know is that God can take your mess and turn it into your message. And he can take that test he's given you and turn it to your testimony.
What a great.
So
that is an unbelievable stat. I wish I'd have thought of that one myself. That's awesome. So great. So let's talk a little bit about, we talk about the gap and that's part of what was founded. So like in your words, why is the moderate income single mom often, one of the most overlooked demographics, especially maybe in the nonprofit world? Because if you think about it, why? Right? Most people don't understand that. So why do you think?
Well, I mean, you have mothers they're working full time.
So somebody's going, they're working.
Yeah, they're working,
right.
So then they don't qualify by sometimes, double digit numbers for assistance. If they do get assistance for housing, you're not always in the best areas, but you don't qualify for that. And so what are the other resources that are out there? A lot of these partner organizations that we have now actually were around when I was a young single mother.
Okay.
But because I didn't qualify for assistance,
right.
No one was pointing me in these directions.
So meaning you're tight,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is what people, okay, so I'm working, but I'm living paycheck to pay. Like, so the next paycheck, if something happens,
correct.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you said, you're one flat tire away.
Yeah.
I mean, that can destroy someone. They already are barely making it. And so then you throw in an $800 tire repair that needs to happen, or your child gets sick and you're missing work for a couple of days. Well, guess what? You're probably not getting paid for it. And so it's those kinds. And then how are you supposed to make your rent? And then it snowballs and it's this whole chicken and egg, well, which do I pay? They're choosing. Do I pay this bill?
Right.
Or do I put food on the table?
How many times like I've been in conversations and do they recognize they need help?
Yes. By the time
do you know what I mean?
In our
like,
doors, yeah.
Because so let's pivot there. I don't even have this one, but how does your awareness come out? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because now that we're talking about it, I've heard in conversation from, kids or something going on. How do they know?
So, we've spread very organically, like our word. I spend a lot of my time in partner agency meetings. So women that are in our demographic, maybe they have some type of assistance that they have, or maybe they heard of a friend who has come to us, or social media has been a blessing for us as far as awareness. But it's like some of them, a lot of them walk in our doors and they're like so relieved that there's assistance for them because we don't have income guidelines. Okay.
That was my, but here's the thing. Like if you were saying something to somebody now, like what's the why? Because do some of these women realize, I think they just think they've got to sort of, okay, this is it. This is sort of the card that's out there. So do they recognize that they're in this spot? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you describe?
Most of the time, by the time they're walking in our door, they've tried so many different avenues that it's like, we just want to be a small break of that flight or fight that you're in. And they're thankful and they are relieved that there is some type of assistance out there. And we've been able to do big things with that. Our community has been so generous in the way that we can help and serve. But more than anything, walking through our doors, thankfully the stuff has been easy to get them the basic needs that they have a need for. But helping them believe in themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, right?
And community, seeing women start to exchange numbers with each other, give each other rides to the boutique, get to know each other. So many of these women don't have anyone. And I know my situation was hard for me, but I have a great family. I could have always gone home if I never would have been homeless. I could have gone home to my family in South Carolina, but I was like, I have to finish school and then I'll move back home.
Well,
and then I met my husband.
Right. Well, that's how God works.
Yes. Yeah. And so, but a lot of these women that we serve, they have no one. I mean, not an aunt, not a grandma, not a mom. And that's heartbreaking. Like, that's something that I feel like,
I was going to say,
when you think it's bad, like, there's always something that's worse. And so meeting them where they are and helping them get where they want to go. It's not a one-time thing. We're serving the same moms month after month, and then then our numbers are increasing, and we've just seen tremendous growth.
Yeah, that's so, like we were talking, so we'll pivot there, right? So your charity focuses on a free boutique, right? Financial grants and a community resource center, right? Am I saying that correctly? Yep. So let's do this. If a mother walks into your boutique today, what is the unspoken thing? And I think you touched on it, but let's go a little deeper, that she receives, not maybe, beyond just a coat or a pair of shoes. So to the people that are listening,
something that really resonates with me is you think about a single mother, and if they don't have anyone else in their social circle, they're raising their kids day in and day out. When's the last time they got a hug from someone besides their children? And so, like, it could be that simple. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just so much more than the stuff, the stuff. I'm so thankful. We have great fundraising events. We have great supporters and donors and foundations that believe in us, that we can help them with the stuff, and we can help them get that rent paid that month, their groceries on their table, or what they need. But to come in and just see the relief that they feel seen, to give them a hug, to say, go grab a coffee at the coffee bar. The kids can play. The kids don't even want to leave whenever they come in. It's so fun in there. Great. And just for that little bit, be out of flight or fight mode. Just know, like, you're being held. I always say, if people want to stop by, you can literally, like, feel angels in that space. It's such a blessed space. And we're just so thankful for it. It's been amazing.
Wow. Yeah. My goodness. So we talk about emergency grants, right? I mean, being life-changing, right? So can you think of a recent example of maybe a small expense that, Clothed in Strength covered, which maybe prevented a much larger problem or crisis for a family? Is there anything that comes to the top of your mind that you...
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, especially at the end of the year, we had a lot of requests, but it could be that car repair that, like recently we had a mom, she's working so hard, and this part on her car needed to be fixed. It was going to be around $1,000. How in the world would she come up with $1,000 to fix this? Right. And so we have a mechanic who is so kind and honest with us, and we always refer to him. And I said, take it to him, have him look at it. If it's in our guidelines of what we can grant, then we just pay him directly. She was able to get in there. She has a little boy. She could still get to work at that point, right? Because if they don't have a vehicle, that's right, they can't get to work. And if you can't work, you're not making money. It's this whole chicken and egg thing. So, and so just to be able, just for them to just melt and say, I mean, there's a lot of growth and hugs and connection that goes on at Clothed in Strength. And it's just really a cool moment, because it's not about me, but to be able to just write the check on the spot to the utility bill that needs to be paid, or pull up their portal and just directly pay, because we don't give grants to the women directly. We pay whatever
which is right, because then you know where it's going. Correct. Right? I mean, and that's the idea, and most people get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've also been blessed to gift 3 cars last year that were donated to us and take away that transportation barrier. And that's life-changing. And we had a mom she was taking 9 buses 9 buses to get to work. And I don't know if people, like, we're so blessed to have a bus
transportation,
line, have
right.
transportation, but you don't think about, she was pregnant, she's getting on this bus, she has to arrange for a certain spot.
Can you imagine
2
how
hours
the
to get to
length,
work.
I was going to say the length of time she spent on a bus.
Yeah. And so we gift her a car and her whole world has changed. She could pick up a second job now. She can get kids to, to daycare and school directly. Like and we have a goal of gifting 4 this year, 1 a quarter. So
have you raised it? Are we still in need of cars?
So we actually had a donor reach out the other day. She's inquiring about donating a car. God is just like, that wasn't a part of what we were going to be doing, but we just started having people say, hey, Heather, I have this car, not really worried about, trading it in. Could you use it? And of course we make sure it's safe.
Of course.
Make sure it's maintenance. And so that's just a path to take away that transportation barrier that I would have never known would have been.
No, but that's the way that's God's works, right? That's just the way it sort of went. People get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk about your faith. So the name, you mentioned it earlier because, like I told you, I did a little research. The name Clothed in Strength, right, comes from Proverbs. And it's 31:25. Okay. So how do you balance providing, and this is a bad word, but sometimes people would feel maybe it's like a handout, but with your goal of helping women realize their worth, that they're an actual masterpiece, right? That they're there. So
we try to do that organically. Whenever they walk in our door, one, it's a beautiful space. It's absolutely beautiful. And really we want them to feel like they're getting a hand up and not a hand out. And so we have...
That's why I used it loosely.
Yeah.
Because some people might think that, right? They might say, you're giving me this.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's hard to ask for help a lot of times,
I'm sure.
And so when they walk in, it's a true boutique experience. We only accept items that are new or like new. They're not used. I mean, they're walking away with pieces of clothing that have tags on them.
I know.
And brand new coats and brand new shoes.
I know.
And hygiene products and stuff. And so it's elevating the experience for them, but also holding them to a certain expectation too. Like, you are worthy enough, right? We don't need to use that language, or we could elevate ourselves because you are worthy of that.
Do you see it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just something very special because it doesn't happen right away. But as they visit us each time, you see the trust building, you see some of the walls start to come down. They talk to you about, and I'm very open about my story. It's on my website.
Yep.
And so women come in and they say, Heather, I know you understand because you've been there.
Right.
And I think sometimes you see people at certain points of life and you think, oh, they could never understand. But you never forget what you walked through. So yeah, that's where we are. It's holding them and helping them.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you said, and you mentioned a couple of times the fight or flight, right? So you have playroom, you said that. So, you said it's awesome to watch the kids go and the moms get this. So they get out of that mode, as you mentioned. So, why is that physical and mental piece just as important to them as the financial aid? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Why would you say?
Because they don't have anyone else, or they don't have people in their lives that understand. I mean, we're helping women who maybe from generational poverty to women that have their master's degrees and everyone in between. And so their social circles all look a little different, and the support that they have looks a little different. But whenever you're, again, constantly in that mode of trying to figure out what it looks like, then it is hard. It's refreshing whenever you have a space where you can just be.
And you see it.
We do.
So you witness this.
Yep.
We 3? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So do I have time for one more? You want to? Okay, we'll pause it. We'll take a break.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about you spent 15 years in corporate banking. You said that. You said you ended up loving banking before launching. So how did your banking brain, really kind of help you build this more effective nonprofit, right? So there was that experience, and you could take that and push it. How do you relate the two to
Being, and I'm sure you resonate with this, being in a career where it's driven by relationship,
right?
You learn different people. You learn how I got very connected in the community working for Huntington. I mean, I always had a great support system there. And it helped, that's where my love for community service came from. We'd be plugged in doing these projects all throughout the year. That's how I became a Rotarian and Rotary president and all of this, because I learned through working at the bank that's how we can give back. We can, again, those 4 buckets, but you can give your time and you can make a difference. And so, I think, and what's been really neat is that I'm very thankful that the way I did business as a banker,
wow,
and the relationships that I built,
so
many of them have come back around and have been some of my biggest supporters with Clothed in Strength. I always feel like I always want to be super transparent and not prove myself, but like I want you to know like where your funds are going, obviously within the nonprofit.
Yeah.
But then having those relationships, it takes a little bit of that, like having to prove yourself, because they just knew who I was. They knew how I did business and how I conducted myself. So I'm very thankful for my career.
Do the right thing.
Yep.
Right. So people have witnessed the exact transition over. So there was the real article, right? It's what you see is what you get. So they knew it, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, I think it's followed you. I think for sure. I've noticed that. So, Closed in Strength has, right? You've been across now expansion through several counties in Ohio, now Pennsylvania, correct?
We are. We're in serving moms in 2 counties in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm.
So, you think about scaling. We talk about, you're expanding. And again, we talk about scaling, or we're talking with clients about scaling. So, what kind of hurdles do you think you have kind of that you've been facing, right? Trying to scale a mission that, if you think about this, is so deeply personal, and local. So was there any hurdles to this expansion, or was it just, hey, God just sort of, we've been very lucky.
I've felt his hand on every single part of it. I mean, it wasn't even in our wheelhouse. I remember whenever I presented to my husband we bought our space in Poland. And God opened this door where I said, how do we not walk through it? He said, well, Heather, buying a property wasn't, we were going to bust out a basement of a church,
Right.
And God had other plans for us. And my husband was like, this wasn't part of the plan. I said, I know, but how do we not walk through it? How do we not see? And that has been such a blessing. Like now I can't imagine it any other way. And so as far I would say, and it hasn't been a hurdle. We have fantastic volunteers, but it's keeping up now on the number of women that are walking through our door, and that requires some staff.
I was going to say, right?
That requires volunteers. And so we have a great partnership with YSU. We have great partnerships with businesses like yours. I mean, by your volunteers coming in, that opened up church groups that they're also part of.
Yes.
And it's just been really, really neat. So that's the biggest thing, is ensuring that we can continue to serve our mothers very well.
Right.
And doing that because it's not just a store that you come into and you're going to shop. Like there's a lot of deep personal conversations that go on that I need to be freed up for. And
that's what I mean. So do you feel like you're able to do these expansions? I mean, are you bouncing to each one personally or? Yeah.
I mean, I just make myself as available as possible when they walk in the door, and, ask for grace whenever we're a little short staffed or a little short volunteered. But it's okay. We have great plans this year. We want to expand the amount of hours that we're open.
Yeah.
In a couple years, we have a mobile unit on the horizon. That's part of our kind of 3 to 5 year plan to take to places that maybe there are transportation barriers. I'm excited. We're open to, again, sometimes you don't even know what is on the radar, and it's becoming more and more apparent. But this year we really wanted to focus on growing organically, keeping up we had a lot of big projects last year, even though we had been moved in for about a year, some unexpected things, some things that were planned.
Always, right?
Yeah. And so this year, knock on wood, hopefully, just getting systems and processes in place that's going to help us do so much more seamlessly, a good CRM system, just making sure, because it's not about a one-time thing. It's looking 3 to 6 months out and longer with these women, because a lot of times they walk in and they think, okay, I just need a winter coat.
Right.
But as we talk to them, what else could we help with?
Right.
And that's connecting them to all these amazing organizations we have in our community for other resources just to help lessen the burden a little bit.
So I mean, so you're the message, right? So they know it's not just one time. I mean, you could guide them for as long as they're needing to be on their feet, right?
Yeah. Our only requirement is that they are a single mother. I was
going to ask what you're inquiring. Okay.
A single mother raising children under the age of 18, or if they have their children have special needs, it could be older than 18, but that they're a single mother. No other question asked. And I just always say, if anything changes with that, they enter into a serious relationship, they need to be in a single income household.
Okay.
But if that changes, there are other resources for full families. But our whole mission, and that's how we're going to stay true to our cause, is to serve single mothers.
Yep. And no income requirements, no none of that. So there's literally, that's your requirement.
Right.
So listeners, right, to know that there's help and that there's there. So, I know, we talk about awareness and what you're doing. So you have a big event, right? And is this an annual? This is an annual
We're
event?
on our third annual.
Third. I think Leslie was first last year. Was that her first one? I believe.
I believe, yeah, it was last year.
Okay. So, why don't you talk a little bit about what's the initiative there? Is what do you do? What is it? Give us the rundown.
So we do 2 big events a year, and they're bipolar opposites. So we have a big purse bingo that we just had our third annual in November.
Yep.
800 women playing for designer bags.
I know, it was awesome.
It's amazing.
Yes.
And then
800
women.
Now, what did it start with? Do you remember? What was your first one?
Our first year, I cut it off at 350 because I was aiming for 200 people. And before I knew it, we were at 350.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The second year, we doubled to 700. And then this year, we were at almost 800.
So
It was
go forward,
amazing.
right?
Yeah. And so that event is in November, and then Soiree and Spirits it's a more intimate, it's a formal event.
Okay.
Where we have live local jazz. This year we have Hayden Grove. He was seen on The Voice.
Okay.
He's like a Michael Bublé duplicate. He's so good. He's going to come in, do our cocktail hour, and then we have another band that will do some jazz, but also dance music.
So a little fun.
Yeah, it's just good food at Drake's Landing, good food, great cocktails. Just we have a live and a silent auction, but just a really nice evening. Learn a little bit more about Clothed in Strength, celebrate, where we've come so far,
right,
and looking ahead to what this year has to bring for us. So we're very, very excited about it.
So these will be the 2 big ones for the year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. So attendance, where are we at as of this? So we'll see how this recording goes, but are we still open if possible, if we're listening?
Yeah. We have roughly 75 seats, and then we'll sell out.
All right. Well.
So we're really excited. Ticket sales don't close for another couple of days, and even then we can add people after that. So, it's just having a good time and celebrating. So we're really, really excited for this year.
Unreal. That's great. So, all right. So for a listener who isn't a single mom, all right, but wants to help, what is the one thing besides money that your organization needs most right now that would be really, really helpful? Because again, that's, we want our voice to be heard, and that's the reason we're doing this, Heather. So we lead by example. So is there anything specific that we could say?
We can always use bodies. We can
volunteers.
Always use volunteers, and it could be either forward facing, with our moms and helping in the kids' room, sorting and organizing. If you don't want to have some volunteers that are like, I like to not be seen, not have to interact, so they stay in the basement. They're sorting and organizing because we're constantly getting donations, and so that way, always prayers, just always for growth for our women that we serve. I'm always praying over them and just hoping to be a light for them and stuff. So. Besides that, then that's really, we could always use items.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we really don't take.
Is there a place they could see a list or anything like that?
If you check out our website, it's clothedinstrength.org. And so we will put on there, like if we have immediate needs, something we really are in need of, we'll list it there. Right now, donations are open. So we accept everything except we don't accept food, but we ask that it's in like new or new condition. So. Okay.
That's great. So I wanted people to hear that. So, all right. So you ready? I want to do a quick rapid fire fun, just quick, 10 seconds or less, just to kind of let people kind of, again, get a little background. So when we say, this is just kind of funny, coffee, tea, or just pure adrenaline?
Coffee.
Your coffee?
Yep.
Okay. What's one thing about pageant life that would surprise people the most?
That it's not as catty as you think that it is. Like, it's a
Really?
lot of good women doing really good things.
See, I think people don't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because, you know, I hate to say it, the stigma's there. Like, oh, look, but hearing your story and the reason you did it, I think should make people understand greater. So amen to that. Who is one woman in your life who defines the word strength?
Oh man, I feel like I'm surrounded by women who are strength. My grandma passed away when I was 16. She has always been just my pillar of strength. She went through so much in her life, and she stood so strong in her faith. She's always been my role model. So even though she's not with me physically, she would be who.
Yeah,
is.
but she did. She defined you, right? It gave you your faith. That's something that I always, with my grandma, I take to this day. What is the one item on your desk you can't work without?
My daily planner. So I have a faith-based planner that I use every day, and it starts with 3 things that you're grateful for, your to-do list, and then it piggybacks my devotion and what I got from it and my prayer list. And I cannot go without that. It's every day.
Oh my gosh, my wife's going to listen to that. That's awesome.
I'll get her one.
Because she journals and she reads every morning. I got her to read every day of strength, and then it does a devotional. So she's got a whole thing too. We both, I read every morning. So it's something very, very close to us as well. If you could only wear one outfit for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh man, probably something involving leggings,
comfortable,
or a bathing suit, because then
there
you're
you
on
go.
vacation.
That's right.
Somewhere warm,
oh, I'm with you. I'm with you there. That's awesome. So, which is harder, balancing a multi-million-dollar budget ledger like doing banking, right, or organizing a charity boutique?
I would say organizing a charity boutique, because again, it's more than the stuff and the numbers. It's like you're dealing. I mean, I know anywhere you're dealing with people's lives, but you really can make a huge impact. And
yes, and again, in the idea of this is people to get a feel for who you are and the why. I think there's a lot of times people don't understand what goes into this, and the fact that you're so committed to your life to be able to do this, I think is an understatement, and I think more people need to hear that, Heather, because you're an example to a lot of people, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Other than Proverbs 31:25, right? That's where your charity's namesake came from. What's your other go-to scripture? Do you have one?
Oh man.
It's okay.
I should just know this off the top of my head. My daughter loves, I might get it wrong, but
okay.
I think it's 2 Timothy 1:7, just about how we were not given a spirit of fear or anxiety, and just casting all of that on Jesus. And right. I love that, because there's a lot of things that can be hurdles or challenging or fears, especially whenever you're dealing with something that can make such a big impact in someone's life. And so it's a lot of prayer. It really is a lot of prayer. It is a lot of prayer,
and it's a lot of giving away, right? Meaning give yourself to who you need to.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
We all know that. Most people maybe don't, but you need to, right? We're not meant to do it ourselves. You've mentioned you love the quote about, and this was something I read about you, dancing in the rain.
Yeah.
So what was the last rainy day you actually danced through? Did you actually do it?
So no. And so the whole premise of that is,
interesting.
So life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about dancing and learning how to dance in the rain. And so it's taking the chance. It's not waiting till the circumstance is right. It's not waiting for the perfect moment. It's doing it messy. And when it's rainy and whenever it's hard, it's just doing it and just taking action.
So it's kind of funny because, I knew that more about that the quote, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, right? But learning to dance in the rain. So that is a really, right, core part of your personal brand, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
How come? Why?
Because I feel like waiting is just God wants to use us, and he wants to do good things, all to point to his glory and for our good. And so if we're always waiting, it's almost waiting that 6 months to not launch Clothed in Strength yet. And then it's finally whenever you do it, and it's like you just have to be ready for what's to come. But when we take action, at least for me, the anxiety goes down. the fear goes down, and we're going to maybe mess it up, or we're going to, it might look like a roadmap, but just taking action for me is
huge.
Yeah.
Right. Being actionable. So not saying, but doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
There's power in that. I mean, that, we're called to take action in some way. And so, that's always what I try to live by.
Somebody, it's and I will say this, you know who John Maxwell is? Have you ever?
I saw him when he came to Greenford.
Yeah, I've seen him 3 times now, and still I read almost all of his books. Just great leader, great talk. But he says, God's greatest gift to us is potential. Mm-hmm. Our greatest gift to God is recognizing it. And wouldn't you say you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's being actionable, right? It's giving your gift to the world.
Right.
God bless you.
Thank you.
So Princess Diana, right? Is there a little personal? So you've said you'd love to meet her. So if you had 30 seconds with her, what is the first thing you'd ask her?
Oh man, I just feel like she always carried herself with such grace, and she had a heart for people.
She did.
And sometimes, you always hear, I don't know, I guess I would probably just ask her, like, how did you stay so humble? And, it's getting at meeting people at the level that they are, and not level stature wise, but just where are they at?
She was real.
She was real. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was a person. We could relate to her because she,
a lot of people did,
put herself out there in front of, in the communities. And that's just a huge example. I think it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to do it, that whole action piece of it. So,
yeah.
So,
how do you maintain your grace? So, when people think of Clothed in Strength, 10 years from now, Heather, this is a good one, right? What is the one word you hope comes to mind?
Hope.
There is.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. Again, it's this stuff is easy. So it's creating, it's helping people to see hope, where your hope is at and who it's in. And, we just want to be a beacon of hope for these women that are walking through, so that maybe one day, because, being out of this situation isn't getting married, and, but it can look very different, but being on the other side of you're hard right now, and maybe you're more comfortable in your situation, to look back and say that hopefully we provided them hope and helped them feel it, even if it was just on that day or in the moments they spent in our space. That's what it's about for me.
Fantastic. So, going to wrap up, but good. Is there anything else you want to say or comment? Is there anything? It's okay. I mean, we did a lot today. Yeah. I mean, I think people got to know you and the importance of why I had Heather here today. Obviously, I think it speaks for itself. So it's a mission, Mediate Financial stands behind, and we're going to continue to stand behind, and we believe in it that much.
We are very thankful. And honestly, we've been blessed with, just a huge thank you to our community, because we've had people believe in us, foundations believe in us, and donors believe in us, and just support us in the greatest of ways, and not just financially. So we're very, very thankful for that. Yep.
Just continue the story. I think more and more people need to hear it. So again, it's a demographic that is very overlooked, but it's very necessary, and you opened our eyes.
Yeah,
you really did. No, you really did. So Heather, thank you for joining. I think my biggest takeaway today is that the gap isn't just right. It's not just really a financial number. It's a place where, real women who are working incredibly hard often feel, right, we would agree, the most alone. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being the bridge that reminds them they are seen. They're, you're being there, that they are in the present, and that they are, and as you say, an absolute masterpiece, right? So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, if you were moved by Heather's story, or if you know a mother who is currently, as we say, dancing in the rain, or as Heather says, and needs a little extra strength, please check out the show. We have all kinds of links that we're going to put. So, to donate, you can visit, right? clothedinstrength.org, mm-hmm. right? All one word. Every dollar goes to those emergency mini grants that keep families on their feet. Mm-hmm. Fair. If you are in the Ohio or Pennsylvania area, right, stop by the boutique in Poland, Ohio. They're always looking for high quality donations, some help, right, to help moms feel confident and empowered. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Clothed in Strength, right, to see the real time impact of your support. So Heather, one last time, thank you for the work you do. You're truly clothing our community in strength. And that's how I want to end that and for our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, you don't have to wait for the storm to pass to find a reason to smile.
That's right.
As Heather says. All right. God bless you.
Thanks
for being here.
Thank you so much.